Open sesame! Well, I've done all I can do.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for Patrick Starr's funniest, silliest, and most entertaining quotes and actions in the SpongeBob SquarePants series.
Wombology? The study of Wumbo? It's first grade, SpongeBob!
Number 20. My name's not Rick. Patrick is very happy with his name, and he wants no one mistaking him for someone else. That's evident in the Fry Cook Games episode, when a ripped SpongeBob and Patrick compete against each other in a wrestling match. Pencil in hand, SpongeBob forcefully presses the eraser onto Patrick's name tag, erasing the Pat. This infuriates his pal, who rises to his feet atop the Krabby Patty ring and yells out his defiance.
My name's not Rick!
Enraged, he hurls himself back at SpongeBob. Point taken. This moment lets everyone know Patrick is proudly Patrick, so don't call him anything else.
I never liked you!
I 1,000 times never liked you!
Pink!
Yellow!
Number 19. May I take your hat, sir? In the Squilliam Returns episode, Squidward wants to turn the Krusty Krab into a fancy 5-star restaurant to impress a wealthy former classmate. Patrick eagerly commits himself to retraining.
Patrick, what are you doing here?
I thought the core would help me straighten out my life, sir!
When Squidward asks Patrick if he has what it takes to work in an upscale restaurant, Patrick's response is a gem. It's not just the line itself that makes this moment hilarious, but Patrick's tone and delivery, eyes wide, teeth showing, and eyelashes now visible.
May I take your hat, sir? May I...
Alright, I've heard enough.
We'd eat at this fancy restaurant just for Patrick alone. Number 18. It's a giraffe. Not everyone knows their animals. That includes Patrick Starr. When SpongeBob puts on an impressive bubble-blowing display, Patrick is highly entertained. First comes an aesthetically pleasing bubble boat. Then SpongeBob grasps his bubble wand with both hands.
And now, with 2 hands!
He proceeds to produce an elegant bubble elephant, which floats its way over to Squidward's house. But wait, that's not an elephant. Well, not according to Patrick, who thinks it's a giraffe.
It's a giraffe!
Enriching the moment is Patrick's silly, prolonged laugh. He certainly doesn't do himself any favors in thwarting the starfish living under a rock stereotypes. Number 17. Lee. After a giant anchor drops into SpongeBob's pineapple house and then hits Squidward's house, it's time to figure out the source of the commotion. So Squidward, followed by SpongeBob and Patrick, climbs up the rope, which leads to a green glowing ship. On that ship is none other than the pirate ghost known as the Flying Dutchman.
I am the Flying Dutchman!
That's it! Squidward, this ship belongs to the Red Baron!
After he tosses Squidward into a terrifying void, the intimidated Patrick and SpongeBob agree to join his ship crew. The Flying Dutchman shows off his pirate call. SpongeBob attempts one himself, and finally Patrick chimes in with a rather unorthodox sound. His facial expression makes it all the more comical. Number 16. Who you callin' Pinhead? While Sandy's in hibernation, SpongeBob and Patrick find themselves outside role-playing as Pinhead Larry and Dirty Dan. During this scene, SpongeBob, sporting a cowboy hat, tells Pinhead his time is up.
All right, Pinhead, your time is up!
Then the camera shifts to Patrick, who doesn't quite look like the same old Patrick. He noticeably has a nose, a couple of forehead wrinkles, smaller eyes, a pair of ears, and no eyebrows. Really immersed in this role-playing game, he delivers an unforgettable line in the process.
Who you calling Pinhead?
The unusual facial expression combined with the line itself and Patrick's ironic unawareness makes this a classic Patrick moment. Number 15. The owner of the white sedan. There is an element of amusing randomness in SpongeBob. One such example comes after Patrick hears the word kicking during band rehearsal.
Is this the part where we start kicking?
No, SpongeBob, that's a chorus line.
Kicking? Oh, I want to do some kicking!
After he clumsily kicks Sandy, she angrily beats him up, and they tumble outside the music hall. Patrick screams in pain as the camera shifts to the doors and then the faces of the patient audience. After several seconds, the door opens, Patrick's head leans in, and of all things, he utters,
Whoever's the owner of the white sedan, you left your lights on.
The moment only gets funnier when Patrick re-enters, his body shoved through a trombone. Number 14. I Love You. In an episode where Patrick and SpongeBob assume the roles of door-to-door chocolate bar salesmen, it's time to pull out the sales strategies. SpongeBob advises his buddy to try flattery. In other words, a little sweet talk.
That's it. He made us feel special.
Yeah, he did. I'm going back to buy more bags.
No, wait, Patrick. Why don't we try being nice?
Patrick takes this advice and runs with it. He knocks on the door, and when the customer opens it, Patrick tells him he loves him.
I love you.
I think you laid it on a teensy bit thick there, old pal.
The background music during this line does an exceptional job of enhancing the lighthearted moment. The customer's response to Patrick is an aggressive slamming of the door. We can't blame him. Number 13. I thought you said Wast. It's common knowledge that the main cardinal points are north, south, east, and west. But our friend Patrick isn't so, well, common.
Patrick, you're fired.
But I don't even work here.
Would you like a job starting now?
Why would I?
You're fired.
In the episode Arg, Mr. Krabs, SpongeBob, and Patrick go on a treasure hunt. Just when they think they've reached the spot, a surprised Mr. Krabs notices there's no X. Patrick and SpongeBob appear befuddled as well. That's when Patrick realizes his mistake. Sort of. It turns out he thought Mr. Krabs said, Wast? And he had led them west.
Oh, east? I thought you said Wast.
Wast? What kind of compass are you reading, lad?
Well, better than leading them west, maybe? Number 12. We have technology. In this episode, SpongeBob and Patrick are tasked with painting the inside of Mr. Krabs' house. Warned not to let the paint get on anything but the walls, the boyos find themselves in a pickle. Paint gets on the money-hungry Mr. Krabs' precious first dollar.
We're dead, Patrick. Do you know what that is?
It's $1. I win.
They try several things to get it off, but struggle mightily. At one point, Patrick suggests what could hopefully be a solution. Gesturing toward a computer, he points out that they have technology.
Wait, SpongeBob. We're not cavemen. We have technology.
With the dollar bill placed on the table, Patrick proceeds to violently slam it with the computer, hoping to get rid of the paint. Hey, you were almost onto something, Patrick. Number 11. Firmly grasp it. A painfully funny instance of Patrick's obliviousness comes when he's out jellyfishing with SpongeBob and Squidward. After suffering serious bodily injuries, Squidward looks like a mummy in a wheelchair. But Patrick is blissfully unaware of Squidward's limitations.
Firmly grasp it in your hand. Firmly grasp it.
In an attempt to help Squidward jellyfish, Patrick offers some advice, but in his injured and bandaged state, Squidward can't hold anything, firmly or not. Getting frustrated, Patrick gets annoyed and shouts out his advice, aggressively driving the net through Squidward's hand.
Firmly grasp it. That ought to do it.
At least Patrick's mistakes, painful as they can be for others, translate into laughs for us. Number 10. It's not my wallet.
Okay, Man Ray. Are you ready for your first day at goodness school?
Granted, it was probably a bad idea from the beginning to include Patrick in any scenario that involves teaching someone to be good, because the starfish's ignorance has been known to irritate even the most patient of people. So you can imagine why a supervillain like Man Ray was pushed over the edge. While SpongeBob tries to show the evildoer how to be nice, he asks Patrick to take part in a little role-playing, where Man Ray tries to return his dropped wallet. Let's just say, it doesn't go so well.
This is your ID.
Yep.
I found this ID in this wallet. And if that's the case, this must be your wallet.
That makes sense to me.
Then take it.
It's not my wallet.
Number 9. Not until 4. You can always count on Patrick to blurt out the most nonsensical things, even in times of crisis. When the sandboarding accident causes SpongeBob to be sent plummeting towards the ground, Sandy yells out instructions on how to minimize the damage.
Land on your bottom!
Patrick chimes in, and what comes out of his mouth is not very helpful.
No, your other bottom.
Don't you be stupid somewhere else?
Not until 4.
We do learn, however, that he does have something of a schedule for his stupidity, as he's gotta go and be an idiot somewhere at 4. Wonder how that turned out. Number 8. Where's the leak, ma'am? Patrick really got the short end of the stick when SpongeBob's crudely drawn evil doppelganger came to life and started wreaking all kinds of havoc. Not that we particularly mind, since every time he gets hurt in this episode is rather hilarious. One such example is when SpongeBob and Patrick are stuck down a hole of Doodle Bob's making. Obviously thinking that it wasn't enough, he decides to drop a doodle wrench on Patrick's head.
Where's the leak, ma'am?
From the impact, we can only guess that it's just as heavy as a real one. Number 7. Push it somewhere else. In the wake of a giant worm attack, the citizens of Bikini Bottom fear for their lives.
We should take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else!
That idea may just be crazy enough to get us all killed!
While thinking up solutions, Patrick comes up with the initially rejected plan of pushing the entire city to a different location. As it turns out, while the residents seem to have faith in SpongeBob and Sandy's ability to catch the worm, they immediately fall back on Patrick's plan.
Push! Push!
This turns out to be a good idea with a poor execution, as by the end of the episode, Bikini Bottom winds up getting crushed under said worm. A for effort, though. Number 6. Wumbo. Is Wumbo even a word? Patrick seems to think so. After accidentally shrinking Squidward with Mermaid Man's stolen utility belt, SpongeBob seeks Patrick's advice on how to fix the problem. His solution is turning the M insignia upside down into a W, essentially turning it from Mini to Wumbo. In fact, Patrick seems to be an expert on the subject, what with his excessive knowledge on Wumbology.
You know, I Wumbo, you Wumbo, he, she, me, Wumbo. Wumboing.
As it happens, his argument falls to pieces when he too is shrunk down to minuscule size. So much for Wumbo. Number 5. Finland. Doodle Bob strikes again. Literally. As this time he's armed with a bowling ball. As SpongeBob and Patrick tried to figure a way out of the hole after recovering from the wrench to the head, Doodle manages to literally splatter Patrick into several pins with just a single throw. We're guessing that it must have hurt, because when SpongeBob asks if he's okay, he responds like this.
Finland!
Either Patrick has quite the concussion, or he was hit so hard that he actually ended up in said Nordic country. Number 4. Innerminations.
If I showed you what was inside, it wouldn't be a secret anymore. Duh!
Patrick and his antics surrounding the mysterious box that seemed to cause him an endless amount of joy made for one of the funniest episodes of this series, mainly due to both SpongeBob and the audience's growing desire to see what exactly he was hiding in there. Patrick doesn't make it easy though, even lecturing his friends that he couldn't comprehend what's inside, since his innermost thoughts are far too complex for your average undersea folk.
The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.
This is perfectly encapsulated with the visual representation of a carton of spilled milk. Yeah, that's Patrick all right. Number 3. The Ugly Barnacle.
Hi, SpongeBob.
Patrick may truly care for his friend deep down, but in terms of offering moral support, he is the last person you should go to. When SpongeBob ends up with horrendously bad breath, civilians start running away from him in order to avoid the smell. But thanks to a few offhand remarks by Patrick, he starts to believe it's because he's ugly.
You gotta be kidding me.
Patrick, being the sensitive soul that he is, tries to cheer him up with a story about an ugly barnacle, except it ends up having the complete opposite effect.
Once there was an ugly barnacle. He was so ugly that everyone died. The end.
That didn't help at all.
Number 2. Is mayonnaise an instrument? With Patrick's IQ being what it is, you can imagine that his knowledge of musical instruments is about as low as everything else. When Squidward gathers the main residents of Bikini Bottom together to form a marching band, he asks if anyone has any previous experience with any kinds of instruments.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
No, Patrick, mayonnaise is not an instrument. Horseradish is not an instrument either.
As it happens, Patrick does indeed have a back catalog, just as long as you count mayonnaise and horseradish as actual experience. We may never actually get to see him play any condiments, but it can't be denied he's a natural drummer. Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. 24. Nervous Patrick struggles to tell his name to the class.
We just want to know your name.
24.
Are you Squidward? Patrick asks a fire hydrant if it's Squidward.
Are you Squidward?
No.
Are you Squidward?
No.
Are you Squidward? That's okay, take your time.
I can't see my forehead. Patrick fumes about his inability to see his forehead.
Hey, Patrick, are you angry too?
Yeah,
What's the matter?
I can't see my forehead.
You took my only food! Patrick claims he's gonna starve while there's chocolate on his face.
You ate yours. This is mine.
You took my only food! Now I'm gonna starve!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. No, this is Patrick.
This is Sparta!
Not since Leonidas' signature war cry has a phrase been uttered with so much conviction that it resonates within the hearts of warriors everywhere. Though in this case, it's because it's just plain funny. Taken on board as a staff member at the Krusty Krab, Patrick tries his hand working the phone. However, as customers call in and ask if they're indeed calling the right establishment, Patrick gives what can only be considered a legendary response.
Is this the Krusty Krab? No! This is Patrick!
If you didn't know his name before, you will after this.
Patrick, that's the name of the restaurant.
Let us know in the comments what Patrick moment you think never gets old.
What's that?
Patrick, go be stupid somewhere else.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.